Welcome to another Baby Theater. Today, we're going to be talking about Speak and Spell. You see, Speak and Spell, it actually was like pretty popular back in the 80s. And what happened was they had this big spree of just people buying it, like nonstop. And they still have some today, but they're just not as not the same as the old ones, right? Like the old ones, you see, that were made in the 80s, they actually had a little bit more in them than people usually think. You know, this was kind of before, like, a lot of the big electronics, you know, like computers and stuff. But what they did was they actually put lots of different computer software in there somehow. And what they did was they kind of developed this AI as well. And so, yeah, good job. Quack, quack. Duck, yeah. That is a duck. Here, let's turn it around this way so you can see. Yeah, is that you? Yeah, is that you right there? Right there, is that you? Oh. So, the original manufacturer was actually one person. His name was Howie Monstrell. And Howie Monstrell was pretty much a genius at this point. And Mr. Monstrell, well, he had lots of different issues that he was sorting through, but one of the biggest ones was he kept finding ectoplasm on the ground. Wherever he went, he'd just see it, and he'd say, "What the heck, guys? This is crazy. Let me show you." And it would turn to ash, you know? So it was almost like the ectoplasm would just turn into ash, and like, everybody was always like, "Ah, yeah, you're just smoking again," because, you know, smoking was big in the 80s, and so. And so they're like, "You're just smoking again," trying to hide that you're smoking. And but he's like, "No, seriously, it was ectoplasm all the time. It was ectoplasm." There's a strict no smoking policy, right? And he would always get in trouble for smoking. But he was like, "No, I swear, ectoplasm." And it was ectoplasm. That was what was crazy. Anyway, he continued his science, and he found that he could harness the power of the dead. And he would put it in the speak and spells. He would really, like, utilize the speak and spell boards for the experimentation. And he reached the dead, I would probably say about 7 out of 10 times. And they would basically say different words and different things like that. When Monstrell's friends, they would actually be like, "Man, why are you doing all this research? We're like a toy company. You know, it has nothing to do with toys." And so he was saying, "Well, no, this is my important research, and, you know, like, I gotta understand the dead if I'm to understand the living, you know." That was his whole thing. And if he felt like if he could understand the living, then he could make better toys. And so, after a while, you know, he got like hundreds and thousands of spirits that were in his boards. Well, what ended up happening, you know, he had to manufacture them from scratch. And each board had, you know, different spirits in them. So he had hundreds and thousands of these boards. Well, his friends got real greedy about it. And they were like, "Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to put these spirit boards in a game, and it's going to press a button, and then it'll say what the sound is. little did they know that the speaking spell was actually a spell. It like actually would spell. Instead of saying C-A-T, cat, it would be like, and you know what happens? When that happens, the spirits of the dead gather even further, right? And so that's what's even crazier. Yeah. Yeah. So what ended up happening is, Monstrell found out about it because some of his boards were missing, and he's like, "What is going on?" And they're like, "Oh, we made a game out of them," and he's like, "But they have spirits in them." And they were like, "Oh, we'll call it Speaking Spell." And he was like, "Where did you get that name?" And they said, "Well, the spirits told us that's what we should name it." And he was like, "No," because guess what? They were speaking the spell to try to free themselves from the confines of the speaking spell, right? And so the speaking spell, when somebody would press it, it'd be like, the cow says, "Moo," M-O-O. The cow says, "Moo," M-O-O. And what happened is, like, all of a sudden, the house was like infested with spirits out the ass. And so then, everybody was like, "Whoa, why are there so many spirits in my house?" And you know what they said? They said, "Well, we did say it was speaking spell." So, I mean, that's your fault. Buyer beware, right? Because, I mean, you got to read the fine print. Now, Monstrell was pretty angry because, that wasn't the idea. It was all his research. So what he had to do was he had to actually create the Ouija board. And what happened was he actually was able to sell the Ouija board, like, side by side with it. And the Ouija board was kind of his first invention that they released. And, he said, well, it's a toy, for whatever reason. Mostly because his research involved all these spirits, right? But, like, he also was, like, talking about how he only released that because they were bugging him about his research and trying to get him to create a game, And they just basically he was basically cornered into making it like a mass marketed kids toy. And so, so Monstrell, he did tons of research on spirits and stuff. And one of the big things that he found was that when the speaking spell would get real low on batteries, it would free the spirits. So parents would have to be real careful. They had to make sure that it was charged at all times, because once it's not charged, it starts unleashing the spirits of the dead. And I mean, it'll start talking like some crazy stuff from time to time. And it sounds really crazy. I was like, yeah, that's what it sounds like. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. So then, combining them, the two, the speaking spell and the Ouija board, is kind of like the fail-proof. Because if you combine both of them, then you can like ward off the spirits, Because what you do is you say, the cow goes moo, and then they would press the button, it goes, and then they would get on the Ouija board, and then start, and it would be like, the cow says moo on the Ouija board. Then they would trap him in the speaking spell. And you'd pull the thing, and then all of a sudden, it'd be like, and they would be in the speaking spell. And that was the key, you know. So he finally figured it out, but it was kind of too late. And they'd already released it. And he didn't get a chance to release it in the same manner as the Ouija board. You know? Instead, they just kind of took over marketing, but really, it was kind of like a fix to the Ouija board, really, was what it was supposed to be. And so it was supposed to, like, try to fix their mistake of the Ouija and try to capture the spirits instead of contacting them. But instead, they both released, and one was like a spiritual thing, and one was like a simple toy for babies. Yep. Yeah, and then one day, speaking spell came to life and started rocking back and forth, and you know, before we knew it, it contacted Monstrel after he died, and he came back from the dead, and was like, and he gave the instructions through the speaking spell. He said, "This is how you use this machine," and you know, I was there. I was able to write it down and share it with you today. And that's how we got here. So you never know what you can find when you're speaking through speaking spells. Because it truly is. I speak to the dead and spells, casting them.
No.
And that's why they call it speaking spell. Speaking spell. Speak and spell it up. Say bye-bye. Say bye. Say bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Yeah, say bye-bye. Yeah, say bye-bye-bye. Bye. Hmm?
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.